Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Real Housewives of Atlanta review. This is season 16, episode 8, Boots on the Ground. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Rather than picking up the episode where it left off, we start off with Shamia in confessional as she sings her country song that she wrote. I'm listening to it and I'm just like, okay, you meant to make a joke out of it, but I didn't really see a purpose for it. We then jump to the next morning and we get a montage of all the ladies. Britt checks in with Mike, letting him know that the night was good, even though Angela kept advocating for Drew. She's still side eyeing her basically because of the peace brunch. I think that if anyone needs to be looking at anyone, it's Angela. I do not like that Britt is continuing to act like she's a victim. I get it. You were done wrong by Kenya. Kenya has been eliminated, so at this point, I don't want to keep hearing about it. Shamia is on the phone with her husband. He called her while he's at a doctor's appointment with their daughter Shiloh. She hasn't been feeling well and it's discovered that she has an ear infection. Shamia lets us know how great her husband Gerald is, how he's been there for her every step of the way, how she doesn't have to parent by herself. He's such a wonderful father, and because he's such a wonderful father, she needs to give him a son because he really wants one. How do I say this? I cannot tell people what to do when it comes to their bodies and when it comes to the expansion of their family. But I think that right now, given all the different complications that their youngest has had and all of the things that her body has gone through, that she needs to kind of chill out a little bit and just focus on her kids. I get that you want to give him a son, but your body has gone through trauma. At what expense are you willing to go through in order to do this? Like at some point, these things catch up with you, and for you to put so many different hormones and things of that nature in your body, you just survived the ectopic pregnancy. Like there's a lot of things that happen with pregnancy, and I want Shamia to just give herself a break. I think that she puts a lot of pressure on herself, and I don't know if it's because it's something that Gerald is doing or if it's something that she's doing to herself. I feel like she shouldn't rush it, but you all tell me what you think. So Cynthia and Angela are outside. Angela says that last night was intense. She lets Cynthia know that she is loyal to her friends, and it's something that she was realizing that these other ladies just don't get. I'm going to have to agree with Angela because I don't understand why they're so surprised by Angela advocating for Drew when you see others like Shamia always sticking up for Portia. So Drew is on her way. Cynthia is clearly, in my opinion, on Portia's side, saying that Drew has put herself in this position because the baby daddies just hit different. That she wouldn't want anybody to go to Leon unless she approves. And I just don't understand why. I don't see why this is such a big deal. She's not doing anything messy. This isn't like the girl is dating this man. Portia and the others are making this a thing when it doesn't have to be. Could she have said something? Yes, but at this point, they've taken it to another level with the crap that they've been talking about Drew. You're acting as if you caught her in the act or something when all they've been doing is recording with one another, and he may have filmed a scene on the show. It's just not that deep. So Angela points out that the entire table was talking about Drew, and she wasn't about to sit there and let them do that. When I hear Angela say this, I'm Team Angela, because if you're sitting there and you're talking about someone that I know, someone that I care about, I'm going to shut you down and tell you to have that conversation when she comes. I get that this is a TV show, but I feel like they would do this even with the film crew gone. Inviting her, I put was messy, but the table took it too far with the comments about what Drew may or may not have been putting in her mouth. Drew has her faults, but it's nice to see somebody have her back. So Cynthia claims no one has issues with Drew except Portia, but the way that you all were at that table, I would hate to see what it looks like if you had issues with her. So Drew finally arrives. Drew says that she was contemplating not coming, but her and Portia at one point were friends. They have been friends for years. So in her mind, this is like her extending an olive branch. She walks in, she has great energy. Cynthia seems happy to see her. She's hugging her while the others aren't running down to see her. I don't know if it was because they didn't hear her because of how large the house was, but I didn't see other people making an effort to see her. Or maybe it was because all of them was too busy getting glammed up. I don't know. So Cynthia fills her in on her plans for the day. There's going to be whiskey tasting or drink making. So she's not sure which one she's going to go to. Angela is in glam. She's laughing as Drew comes in and she tells Drew, so your room is right through those doors right there. And based on her laughter, Drew's like, okay, what's up with the room? Because why are you laughing like that? She's like, no, it's okay. It's beautiful. It's just right over there. So Drew goes in and she's looking at the room and she says it's giving orphanage. They start talking about Portia and Drew, and Angela wants her to talk to Portia. Drew says, for what? Now, Drew. She wants you to talk to her because this is supposedly Portia's trip. You should walk in and you should speak to everyone, including Portia. Maybe you're not going to have any resolve here, but you should have spoken. So Angela wants Drew to talk to Portia so she can get the heat off of her. And Drew basically says, like, the heat isn't because of me. That heat is self-inflicted. So you see Cynthia text Portia to find out which group Drew is going to be in. Portia says Drew can choose. Drew decides to do the tasting. Shamia and Portia, they're still not ready. They're talking about Angela, and Portia refers to that thing, calling Angela a thing, saying that she's gaslighting her. I don't think that that's what Angela did, but okay. She asks is she asks Portia, "Are you enjoying yourself? Like, do you think you'll be able to enjoy yourself when you see Drew?" And Portia's like, "Yeah." So Kelly and them come out. That stylist needs to be fired. I hate most of the outfits that a lot of these women are wearing, but Kelly, girl, like, what are we doing here? I get that you want to show off your body and you have a beautiful shape and all those things. It's just a bit much. Whether you have kids or not, it's a bit much. I hate most of the outfits. Portia comes down. Drew says happy birthday, and we see them embrace one another. Portia tells her thank you. She tells us that she can let it go. She expressed herself already. She wants to have a good time, and it should have been left at that. So they all get into the Sprinter. There will be two stops. Shamia then becomes emotional out of nowhere while they're driving. She's crying in the back of the Sprinter. I thought that maybe she got some bad news about her daughter, but that's not what happened. It turns out that she got a text message from someone. In 2008, she was married to a man, and that relationship was abusive. The marriage lasted for a year. So in 2018, she told her story at Kenya's domestic violence PSA event, where she's telling one of the times that he assaulted her, that he put his hands on her. It sounds like this has happened on more than one occasion, and one of those occasions was even in public where others had witnessed it. In the past, Shamia said that someone who was, I can't remember if she said a friend or acquaintance, but somebody that she was very familiar with did not believe her when she told her story, when she expressed what had happened to her. And she's like, the person, I guess, just felt like there was no way that he can be this successful, wealthy man and do that. So after all this time has transpired, this lady just out of nowhere, while they're in the Sprinter, text Shamia apologizing for not believing her. The fact that Shamia got this text when she did makes me wonder what happened, or what information was the woman made aware of that she now realizes that Shamia was telling the truth. What made you have a change of heart? So Shamia, with that text message, kind of relives the experience. And when I heard her talking, I was like, my goodness. I think a lot of times when it comes to abuse, people think that it has to have a certain look. I remember, I remember the first time that a man ever put his hands on me and how in shock I was. I was mortified and I was embarrassed and I was scared and I couldn't believe, out of all people, that this was happening to me. And can you believe that the first time he did it wasn't the last time? Now, I was in my 20s and there was other things that came along with that situation, but I'm telling you this to say, I think a lot of times people think that abuse has this look. Abuse doesn't have a look. Everybody who's abused isn't walking around looking like the things that they've been through. A lot of them end up looking the way that Cynthia said, where you see that they're always smiling and they're always bringing light into a room. So for Shamia to be willing to share that and be kind of knocked down by somebody that was supposed to be someone who knew her, I can only imagine, how that felt for her. So Shamia says it got to the point where she stopped telling her story because she didn't feel like people would believe her. So for her, that text was validation. It was vindication. It was like, okay, you finally see that I wasn't lying. I was telling the truth. So Shamia kind of switched gears a little bit and she changes the subject and she asks Cynthia how her mom is doing, because at that same event, Cynthia's mom revealed that she too was in an abusive situation and how hard that was for her with the children being around. Cynthia says her mom is good. And she points out how, these women are so strong. She never would have knew that Shamia went through that because Shamia is always fun and she's always smiling. And this just reminds me of how important it is to check on your friends that seem so strong, because a lot of times the people who create the most joy for others often experience a lot of pain. And because Shamia's been through a lot. And I don't know. I'm hoping that she's dealt with some of those things. I'm hoping that she's had therapy and things of that nature. I just don't know if she's always open about what she's been through and the pain that she sometimes has, because she's such a people pleaser. I hope that she puts herself forward when it comes to that. So we see the ladies arrive at their two destinations. There's this Coyote Ugly bartending class that Shamia, Portia, and Kelly go to. At this bar, we see the ladies do tricks with the shot glasses. They're on their knees as they, bend down to get the shot glass with just their mouths. They're shaking out the bottles. They're taking a lot of shots. When they're done, the subject of what happened at the dinner the previous night comes up. Kelly wants to know if Portia's friends are Drew's friends. And Portia says, yeah, we're all cool. The reason why they asked about where Drew was is because they would have thought she would have been there, because they don't know about the situation. They don't know that we have a problem right now. But she's like, but if I'm really thinking about it right now, my issue is with Angela. Because if Angela wanted to invite her friend, you would think that she would have wanted to invite her in an inviting atmosphere. Shamia then says, on the way to the peace brunch, Angela said that she felt like Drew was talking mess to Kelly about her. Production shows that that's not what happened. This is why sometimes the telephone game, the he said, she said gets dangerous, because things get lost in translation. Tell the entire thing or don't say anything at all, because you sitting here and you're relaying this message and now you got Portia feeling like it's something that it's not, when really Shamia didn't deliver it the right way. So what we see in the flashback from production is that what she said was, Drew said that Kelly was throwing shade. And I was concerned more with Drew's reaction. Angela didn't care that Kelly threw shade. She wanted to know what type of friend Drew is. Meaning, did you have my back when Kelly was throwing shade? I don't like when people change narratives, and I think that's what Shamia did. Now, whether she realizes she did it or not, that's a whole nother thing. But that's what you did in this scene, Shamia girl. So Portia now is like, oh, she set her up. Angela set Drew up by provoking everyone else to have a negative response to Drew. And I said, wait, what? Portia is the one causing people to have a negative response to Drew. She is the one that is keeping this thing with Drew going on. Drew tried to squash this during the second episode. You are the one who made excuses as to why you didn't want to answer the phone. You said your child was sick so you couldn't meet up with her. You said you were out of town. You had all these various excuses. So you didn't want to fix this. Then you have your sister and your friends bring up rumors at this table when you can't just let this go and it's not even that deep. So at the other place, we see the whiskey tasting. We got Angela, Britt, Drew, and Cynthia. I was surprised that Britt went with them, which makes me feel like this was kind of a production thing because I would have thought that Britt would have been more on the Coyote Ugly side of things. Drew wants to get a bottle for Portia with the picture of the group as an olive branch, and the ladies think it's a good idea. I personally didn't think that she should do it, but it was a nice idea. The ladies tell Drew they missed her. Angela says, but I held it down for you, though. She's like, I feel like Portia's hurt because I invited you. I kind of messed up with inviting you without getting Portia's permission. That's when Britt chimes in and she says, you know, what it's about is it's about you playing the victim. I said, Britt, shut up. Because that's not what it's about. Angela says, with the heat that she's got and how is she playing the victim, and Britt's like, that's exactly it. So then Britt starts bringing up the brunch and how I did not get your support, I did not. Everybody was like, on Kenya's side, and they were like, it's even now. That's not true. Britt didn't like being called out. Britt didn't like that she told a lie and acting like Kenya was the reason why her license was under investigation when there was other things going on prior to Kenya. Britt didn't like that Angela pointed out that what you're saying doesn't make sense. That's what Britt didn't like. Britt still hasn't really taken enough ownership to me that she threatened that girl with a weapon. And it's now coming out that other people, I think they said Kelly allegedly saw it. So what are we doing here? Angela says, no, it's how you came in and you sat down. You had an entitled energy about you. And she did. She did. She wanted that moment. She felt accomplished. She probably felt like, yeah, I succeeded. I got Kenya kicked off the show. So Drew says, us showing up was supporting you. And then this is when Cynthia gets on my nerves, because Cynthia chimes in like she was at the brunch and she was made aware of the situation, talking about how can they tell Britt how to feel and how to show up after what Kenya did to her. They weren't the ones that had pictures that were shown. And I get it. They weren't. But you don't know how she showed up in this moment, Cynthia. So be quiet. You can't speak to what happened about a brunch that you didn't attend. So Britt starts doing her cry and saying she was humiliated. This tore up my business. It tore my business up and it messed things up for me. She's not taking ownership. Angela apologizes, as does Drew. How many times are they going to have to do this? So Cynthia talks about, we need to give this woman empathy, and we can give her empathy and still love our friend. I kind of see why Kenya may have an issue with Cynthia in this, because I'm all for right is right and wrong is wrong. But Cynthia, you kind of jumping in on some stuff you don't know anything about. So the ladies get back on the Sprinter and they head home. The energy is good in the Sprinter. They talk about Britt being a lightweight while Cynthia apparently was a fish, because we get clips of Cynthia doing tastings left and right. We're back at the house. They have 2 hours until the cowboy dinner. Everybody is relaxing and waiting. There's lots of drinks on the table, lots of cowboys that are around, some of which are serving the ladies. Cynthia kind of flirts with one of them, right? Some of the ladies are serving looks, others are looking a hot mess. Portia earlier is all excited while she's talking to Dennis and PJ and putting on her hat to show her daughter and all that other stuff, but she comes down with completely different energy and a different outfit. She is now all dressed in black. She's not even wearing her own theme. Turns out she's mad because someone called her and told her Dennis filmed with Drew. I think that's so whack that you brought this energy because of that. And I just feel like Portia's acting. But y'all tell me what you think. So she said she's mad because 2 months ago she told him not to do it. He said he wouldn't, but we know 8 days after that conversation he did. I want to know who told her. She claims he chose opportunity over family. I want to know how. What opportunity? Was it opportunity over family when he did the show with you and Simon? Was that opportunity over family? See, she likes to use Dennis when it's convenient for her, and I don't like that. But Dennis is gonna keep being used because part of Dennis still wants Portia, and part of Portia still wants Dennis. So it's line dancing time with the cowboys. Some of them get it, some of them don't. They then sit down and eat. Now, while they were dancing, Portia's energy was, okay, but she's mad again as she sits down at the table. This time, Kelly asks, what's wrong? And so do some of the others. She says she's tired. She took some, medication. She's just tired. And I'm like, okay, after drinking? I don't get it. So it's the last night. They talk about the whiskey tasting. They feel that they made progress, but Angela doesn't get how she comes off as a victim. So Britt's like, oh, so we didn't make any progress if you can't see that. And I think you can't see it, Angela, because you don't come off as a victim. Britt does. But she's projecting and she's flipping it and she's putting it on you. Shamia brings up the whole gaslighting thing. Angela wants to know how she does that. And Portia claims she doesn't remember. That would have been the end of the conversation for me. I'm too old to play those type of games. Like, either you're going to say it or you're not. Angela apologizes if she, upset her by inviting Drew. She points out of nowhere that Kelly asked something earlier on and they let that go. Talking about the whole married man comment and how Portia never answered the question. Cynthia says, Portia, you gonna answer the question? And Portia says, Angela can kiss my ass. My culo. Angela says, the rest of the world can kiss it. Portia says, you first. Angela tells us that she has no desire to kiss Portia's fix-a-flat. When she said it, I said, not fix-a-flat. Angela, you've grown on me. Do you hear me, girl? You've grown on me. Now, I don't know if that's homegrown or not. I understand that as women that our bodies change up over time during different ages and babies change things too. But I don't know if she's had some work done or not. Either way, if she has, Portia looks good. I'm just going to say it. She looks good. Drew asks Portia, are you good with me being here? And Portia says, you straight. I need Portia to grow up. Drew says, it's your birthday. I got you a present. I got you a bottle of whiskey. I'll make sure that I leave that, but I'm going to go ahead and leave. And she gets up and she leaves the table because she's over the energy. The other ladies want her to stay, but I'm like, good for you, Drew. Drew has kissed Portia's butt long enough when it comes to this matter. If Portia doesn't want to resolve it and let it go, then so be it. She has music with Dennis. It's good. Go stream it. Or buy it, because I think she gets stuff off of that too. And say goodbye. So Portia feels like she's even being dramatic when she leaves. I don't think she is. I think she tried. I think it's the last night. I think it does look kind of crazy that you want to leave the last night, but to be fair, like, just go in your room and call it a day. There's no point. I'm guessing Drew came because she wanted to check, because I wouldn't have came in the first place knowing that you don't, like, really see it for me. So Shamia and Britt go to check on Drew. She basically states that she's had enough stuff going on right now. She don't have time for this type of crap too. Cynthia checks on Portia. She's telling Portia, I know that you're going through a lot, Portia, with the divorce and everything. And Portia explains that, her energy had nothing to do with the ladies. So then why did you bring it down there? Direct it to the person it needs to be directed to, which is Dennis, since you feel like he owes you something. She says she's being piled up on. She feels like she's being piled up on. I want to know by who. She says she's going through a lot. As far as Drew, she says, if I started a podcast with your ex-husband and you had to find out secondhand, how would you feel about it? Cynthia says she wouldn't like it. I personally can no longer care about this subject. Bottom line is, Portia owns Dennis, and he's obligated to do what it is that she wants of him. So Portia is so glad that Cynthia is there because Cynthia is one of the OGs, and Cynthia to her feels like home. We see them hug. The next thing you know is pool time. Angela and Drew are in attendance. The next day, we see the aftermath of pool time. Britt and Kelly are in bed. She says Angela was recording them. Angela did record them because she was collecting her receipts. Angela tells production that around 2:30 a.m. she was on the phone with her husband, Charles. She heard her name. She looked out the window and she saw Portia, Shamia, Kelly, and Britt at the pool. She then heard Portia say something. We're going to go ahead and play this, and I'm going to respond to it because I had to pause it at that, and I was like, we're just going to play it and go off of it. So hopefully you guys can hear it. Let's go.
Portia was inebriated and all of her truth fell out. What I hear is them just talking about my dress, and they spoke about my husband. Last night, she said, I should Charles. They can.
Did you hear that? Last night, she said, I should F Charles. I believe Angela. So my question is, do y'all believe it? Do you believe that Portia said that? Because I got Portia saying it, especially because of the way that Portia is. Let's continue.
Continue to talk about me. I just said, okay, let me record them.
She records them. It's hard to understand. So she records them. It's short because she decided to go downstairs instead to confront her. Portia denies saying anything, and she kind of got up out of there. Because, you know, at the core, I'm going to have to be honest. I don't think Portia is really trying to go there with Angela. I think Angela would get Portia. But let me play this part.
In a music video, just outside, having a good time, the middle of the night.
Yeah, I heard Charles had a baby, and Shamia said that he always out with all these different women, allegedly.
So y'all were sitting around at the pool when production was down, talking a whole bunch of crap about Angela. Stuff that you weren't saying to her face, but apparently you're willing to say when she's not around. And this is the problem that I have. If you gonna say it to my face. Now, I may not like all of the stuff that Angela has done, but I'm Team Angela because I'm tired of the way that these people are up Portia's butt, like Portia does no wrong. When if this was done to Portia, Portia would have a big problem with it. If somebody, look, you can't even handle Drew recording with Dennis. How would you feel if she said something like, I should just F Dennis?
I can remember is Portia saying, she better stop before I her husband.
She better stop before I F her husband. That's what Kelly just said. She said that mess. Angela says, you better listen when Portia says she will do it to your husband, because as history has shown us, she will F your husband, and she will. She's shown it.
Good morning.
Hi, Kelly.
How are you feeling?
All right. I don't want to be fake, so.
You see? The next morning, y'all acting like all that didn't happen because it wasn't on camera. Kelly, you fake too. I see you, girl. Angela is over it. She said, you're not about to sit here and be fake and then come and try to greet me with the hello while Kelly over there, this is how I am. This is how I am in the morning. She's like, okay, well, I don't want to do the fake stuff. She tells us that at this point, she's been attacked and attacked and attacked. And she's done with the fake stuff. They're all puppets. And they are. That's where it ends. Y'all let me know what you think. If it's something that I left out, put it down below. This should be interesting. Until next time, say it with me now. Peace.